Hey guys, it's time to say goodbye to our 1978 Subaru DL, and there's a whole story that I want to share with you with Jeff here, who is buying it. So Jeff, when we found the car, there was a mystery buyer who was bidding for it, and that happened to be some guy in Florida, but we just happened to get to the car first. But the mystery buyer was you.
That's correct.
Yeah. So the person selling the car said that there was somebody else in Florida who wanted to buy it, and I felt bad because we had kind of, gotten there first and paid all cash for it. But as you know, we don't keep these cars for very long. So I told the seller actually to let you know that we're going to be selling it at some point. And you happened to call me, 2 weeks ago?
It was 2 weeks ago last Sunday.
Yeah.
I figured about 5 months had went by, and it was about time to call and see if in fact they did want to sell it after 5 or 6 months.
And the crazy thing is, you're actually from you're from Colorado Springs, so you were in Florida doing some cancer treatment, and that's why you were down there. And when you called, I was like, well, we're done with it. If you want it, it's yours. And I love how these stories come full circle, but it's more than that, right? Why don't you tell me the first time you actually saw this car?
I first became familiar with this car in 2012. I knew a gentleman down at the University of Colorado in Pueblo that was a professor, and he had an Oldsmobile 442 that had come into my possession. And that car was sold new here in Boulder at the Oldsmobile store. They contacted me because they knew that car had came from their dealership, and they wanted to restore that car as a tribute to the gentleman's father. And so when they invited me up later that summer in 2012 for a Cars and Coffee here in Boulder as a barbecue and just to get together with automobile enthusiasts, this car was on the showroom floor of the Subaru store at the time. And it's a very small dealership. You could only have 2 cars on the showroom floor. And this little Subaru was sitting there at the time as a testament to time.
So the history of the car is actually very well documented. There was a story in Jalopnik. So it was purchased on the West Coast, I believe in Seattle, Tommy, or was it Portland? In Seattle by, I guess she was a scientist, and she brought it here to Boulder. And the cool thing about the car is it just has over 50,000 miles on it. And the reason is that she basically used it just to kind of go run groceries. In the story in Jalopnik, it says that she liked to, take public transportation. So the car sat in her house. And then the local Subaru dealership here, Subaru Repair, actually bought it, and it sat in their showroom for a long time.
Exactly.
That's
right.
when you saw it, right?
That's exactly right. Yep.
Yeah. And then eventually it was purchased by the person that we bought it from, and then it was purchased by us, and now it's going to a wonderful new home. So
wonderful. Thank you.
There you go. So why do you want a DL? What is it about these old Subarus besides the fact that they're time capsules, right?
Well, there's no used car factory, so you take the nice examples when they come along, but this is just an incredible time capsule. And knowing the history as I had known it prior, and the fact that the woman that did have it, the story I had heard was it had come from Portland, and she was a professor at the university here in town. And but again, enjoyed public transportation, so it didn't get a lot of road time. When I first saw it back in 2012, it had about 44,000 miles, so about 8,000 less than it has now. But just an amazing car to be 42 years old and still in this condition.
So the car fought us every step of the way because we had to get it, believe it or not, smogged here in Boulder. And the smog standards actually now for the car are tougher and harder than they were back in '78.
More stringent now.
Yeah. So we spent a lot of time working with an old mechanic who actually is like the only guy who still knows how to work on these things at Subaru Repair.
Right.
He put like literally 2 weeks into it, rebuilding the carburetor and doing all his magic to actually get it to pass emissions. So we got it to pass emissions, which was a miracle in itself. And what are your plans with it? What's the next step for the car?
I'm going to keep it and enjoy it. I'm going to go about it. It's got some minuscule rust areas that need to be addressed, so certainly take care of those. Just stay up on it. It's not going to be abused. It's not going to be a winter car. It's not going to see salt or mag chloride road conditions, and just keep it for some time and enjoy it.
I'm super happy that you're getting it. We did a fleet update this weekend that Tommy put together, and I got about a half a dozen emails of people wanting to buy it, and I'm really happy that it's going to a great home here in Colorado.
Well, I appreciate that too. Yeah,
it's staying a Colorado car.
It needs to stay here.
It needs. Yeah, it's. I mean, let's face it. It's lived its whole life here. And the cool thing about these cars, I think, is that not a lot of them remain. Right? I mean, they all rusted away. How many '78 Subaru DLs are out there?
You don't see them. I mean, occasionally you'll run across a Brat, occasionally a 360, the little Hilux kind of little pickup truck thing that they had, but No, there's just not a lot of 40-year-old Subarus.
Yeah, they were driven and used in the winter.
Yeah.
And you find them in 3 places, right here in Colorado, out on the East Coast, like Vermont,
Right.
and then of course on the West Coast in like Portland and Seattle.
Sure.
And so, you know, to have a survivor and to be able to pass it along to somebody who appreciates it is just so so wonderful. So thank you very
It
much.
is. No, I appreciate it. Thank you
calling.
again.
Yeah, I'm glad that turned out.